everybody, and welcome to game number 1 of this best of 3 between Gaimin Gladiators and BetBoom. Suns fan here, Cinder in there.
Yep.
You almost got it right, Cinder.
Unlucky.
And some questions about the drafts here.
Yeah.
Dazzle, last pick, a great theoretical answer, at least, to PL Illusions, although you can replicate them or recreate them so quickly. Not sure how much it matters, but yeah, the last pick, Dazzle, seems to be talk of the town, Cinderman.
I really like Gaimin's lineup. I think the Dazzle was a brilliant last pick. It's got multiple facets to it in this game that I think are really strong. So the obvious one will be the Shard against the PL. But when you have Scepter on Dazzle as well, that's also very good against PL. So you have both items against him. Grave for Terrorblade is amazing, so you can get off maximum value Sunder. The tempo that Dazzle plays, I think, works very well with Terrorblade as the carry, where Terrorblade gets his 1 or 2 big items, and then you can group up and start taking objectives. So that works well, too. For BetBoom, I think it's going to be a matter of, like the panel talked about, how well is this Omni going to do? Like, is Dota2 actually going to struggle? We saw him play against an Omni Knight yesterday as Weaver, and he struggled in that lane. So now that he's Terrorblade, on paper it should be worse than the lane was for Weaver. So if that's anything to go by, then that will be worrisome for the side of Gaimin Gladiators.
So I'm going to counter your argument and say I think the mid lane is far more important because Omni seems to always have a good lane, but it turns into more of a carry type hero, and you need your mid laner to be the initiator, which of course Dragon Knight can be, but the Dazzle is also the key ingredient to Gaimin Gladiators. So I think this is the lineup that is, or this is the lane that's going to be most important. But we'll see.
I'm curious how it plays out. I think Jenkins was very quick to say that Dazzle destroys DK. I think DK is one of the melee heroes that in theory should have the best chance against Dazzle in mid, because Dazzle just beats the stereotypical mid melees, right? So, but DK has more sustain, he has more armor. So I think he can do okay. I am also expecting Dazzle to win, but I don't know if it's going to be by like a landslide like we've seen against when Earth Spirit mid was a thing, or Ember, these kind of heroes. I think Dazzle doesn't destroy DK just as much. But nice pressure here from Celery onto Techies.
Now, here's the other thing, though. A lot of these, I want to see if there's a different Omni build. We've only been seeing, really, the Echo Saber into Harpoon, single target, just burst. But Miero, I feel like his hero pool, or the way that he builds his heroes, as Save is going to get gone on here. Looks like that's going to be first blood for Dyrachyo. Perfect hero to get it on for Gaimin Gladiators.
Yep. But
he's the type, Miero's the type of guy to build like the auras, initiation. Don't really see him playing the carry type offlanes, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. And you could also argue that auras are more valuable this game because you're playing with an illusion-based carry. Generally, they benefit very much from that, and you want to protect. You want to protect him from the threat or the pressure of Dazzle. You want to also try to bring your DK into the game from Omni enabling him, but I feel like that's more about levels than items. I don't know. Like, if you go for... Like, what would you build, is the question.
I don't know, because I've not... Actually, maybe I have seen 1 or 2 games, like, really early on, and not this ladder patch, not even the last ladder patch, where you'd go, like, Greaves or something like that, just the typical auras, but, like I said, it's been primarily just this Echo Saber build.
Should mention, BetBoom as a team in this tournament has largely been having kind of one-sided games, win or lose, a lot of the time anyway.
Yeah.
So they are ahead, they stay ahead, they fall behind, they don't come back. This is worrisome. You look at this laning stage right now, they're actually getting run over quite hard in their off lane. The Omni Knight that we were thinking could do well against Terrorblade is... The Techies died, Terrorblade got first blood, he has 21-6 CS against Omni's 13-0. And in the meantime, the top lane, PL, 9-1 against Mars, 17-6.
Yeah.
So not exactly the best conditions for BetBoom. And honestly, I think if they lose the lane significantly, I think this is a very difficult lineup to come back with. Because PL will be, you know, he'll be a liability. That's just what the hero is for 20 minutes. And if Omni Knight also isn't enabled, who are you going to play around? You can play with your DK with the supports, I suppose. Do you have the damage, though? A lot of questions to answer for BetBoom here. with this poor of a start in the lanes, which is very uncharacteristic for them.
Yeah, and speaking of the PL, the panel kind of went over it a bit, but just to go forward with that conversation, you were talking about how off-camera that is, that Nightfall is known as the best PL in the game right now, but
He's exceptionally good on this hero.
PL as a hero has felt quite underwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen it with the lead, we've seen it from behind, and it's just not, it doesn't feel like a consistent hero in this current patch at least, but maybe Nightfall can bring something special to the table.
I would agree with that, and I think no matter, that's the curse of the hero in a way, no matter how good you are at it, I would say, yeah, I think Nightfall is the best player on this hero in the world, probably. He got, he should be okay. He got very famous for this and his Ursa when he broke into the scene. These were his two big ones. The problem is, even if you are incredible at this hero, it just has massive limitations in strategy. So you can be the best player in the world all you want, but if you're playing a PL and your team is losing, the game generally ends one way. Like, say you're 10% better than the other PLs in the game, doesn't really matter. The hero still has some... His Achilles heel is, as you said, being picked. So unfortunately, Nightfall can't really circumvent that.
Like, okay, in theory, what is the perfect PL game? Like, what conditions need to be set?
Enemy team can't put a lot of pressure. Enemy team has bad illusion clear, and you get a good lane. I think those three things. And in this case, I feel like they have none of the three. So, but I can see why they wanted to pick it, because the carry-to-carry matchup is good. Like, you can easily get baited into this pick when you see, oh, Terrorblade, PL is a classic good counter. He still is. But the conditions around it, I just think, kind of tough. You can't ensure his lane here. And with the... You obviously don't know this at the time you pick it, but the tempo that Gaimin are able to put with their heroes is definitely something PL does not want to face. He wants these slow, dragged-out games. This could be big if he can find something, but...
Oh, the shackle into the power shot. Tofu gonna have to use his win run to get away. Ace sticking around a little bit. See if it costs him. Gets off the spear onto Toronto Tokyo. Spirit Lance from Nightfall. Out of mana now, though.
Meantime, save.
Yeah, save will drop in the bot to Dyrachyo. And the lead continuing to grow ever so slightly for Gaimin. But again, 2K at 6.5 minutes. Usually a bad sign for the team behind.
Yeah.
And GPK in the mid lane, 25-5 versus Quinn, who's been harassing the ever-living crap out of him, 33-10. So
yeah, I mean, I think this is a pretty good representation of how this lane is on paper. Dragon Knight loses, but not by a landslide. So yeah. I would say GPK, for the most part in this lane, has probably been playing it quite well in compared to, like, theory, if you will. I'm mainly curious to see what are BetBoom going to do to get into the game now, because the two side lanes were a travesty. You're not recovering them. You're going to try to, you know, salvage, so to speak. Is GPK going to move to them? Are the supports going to come to him and try to kill the Dazzle and take mid tower? Who are you primarily playing with in terms of bringing in the Omni as well?
Yep, I thought this would be the one lane BetBoom would be doing really well in, is the bot. I mean, Effie brought it up, the pure damage against the likes of TB with the initial. Okay, well, now that we bring it up,
this would be big.
They're going to go for him. Under the tier 1 tower, they will get the kill, but Dyrachyo was on low HP and just happened to stick around as Stellar was not there to assist.
That's a huge kill. GPK is also going to find Tofu.
Dragon Tail into the arrow. Quinn is here, though, to assist. The shackle does connect as GPK is going to back away for just a brief moment, as Stellar did show himself. So Quinn, no big surprise, will be going for the Aghanim Scepter first, and then almost certainly into the Shard, like you talked about. Way to clear those illusions really quickly.
Yep. The power run got denied. It was a haste. That save destroyed from long range on techies, so Quinn will not get that bottle refill that Dazzle loves to play with. Obviously, one of Dazzle-made strengths, aside from bullying these melee heroes, is also his ability to go and farm the side camp whenever available. But needs a decent amount of mana to do it efficiently. So losing runes obviously sucks for him.
All right, I do want to talk about Omni Knight because the panel, again, it is the weirdest hero, if you want to call it that, in the game, along with Dazzle, I guess. But what is the identity of this hero? Because his second spell, Repel, does not dispel, unless I misread everything on the skill.
I believe the Dispel was removed, and now it just gives magic immunity.
Yeah, so it's like a cross between Heavenly Grace and the original Repel without a Dispel of any kind. It's just magic immunity. Celery will take a blast off into an arrow.
Okay.
As Miero able to burst him down.
They've got some good damage when they connect their spells with this trio.
But the hero is just so weird because you're doing all this burst damage, but then you have these very defensive type abilities. And you have to get, is it the Shard or is it the Ags that, I think it's the Ags, to be able to cast it on yourself as well, right? The Guardian Angel, that is. It's just I don't know. This hero just feels really weird right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I love this hero personally. I think it's really fun to play, but find it difficult to identify what conditions make for a really good Omni game nowadays. And I feel like the teams do as well. Like we've seen it picked in a couple of games, and it's been very mixed how the impact is. Nice damage here onto Nightfall.
Trying to force Nightfall into the arms of Celery. Nice dodge with that Doppelganger. Nightfall will go to the south. As Ace won't be able to catch up. Toronto-Tokyo making his way over there, though, as the poison touch from Quinn is there.
Oh, boy, he's
Slows
dead.
continue to stack. Doesn't have Doppelganger for 8 seconds, so Magic Missile into Spear. Very casual kill.
Nice
Very
rundown.
Casual rundown.
Yeah, I thought he was fine there, but Quinn showing up from the south with just that one poison touch will be enough for the rest of the teammates to connect. Will cost them a decent amount of damage on the tower, though. BetBoom make the most of it with Dragon Form as well as the 10-minute siege creep.
And save. He'll have the blast off just to get away here.
Gotta fly away there. When all said and done, you know, okay for BetBoom, I guess.
Ooh. First arena of the game. Not initially successful. Toronto-Tokyo able to leap away. Gonna throw an arrow, which Ace will spot, so the chase continues. Has Spear again. Needs to find the angle, though.
I think it's just gonna crash.
Yeah, he is faster.
Rebuke and then. Yeah.
And eventually, Toronto-Tokyo will fall.
Yeah, I think Toronto-Tokyo maybe survives that if he doesn't turn to arrow, but I believe he arrowed the siege creep, which is very valuable to do. So, not gonna chalk that up to a mistake. I think. Well, I guess was the tower already gone, or did they just take it? Because okay, he still got the tower and Terrorblade. Then I don't think it was worth it. So, yeah. Anyway. I was going to say BetBoom, honestly, staying afloat quite well here. I think this could have snowballed even worse from the first 5 minutes. We could have been looking at a 4 or 5K lead. They've made a couple of successful moves, and they are making Gaimin Gladiators respond to them as well. It's not just Gaimin initiating absolutely every move, so they can somehow stabilize this a little bit and start getting there on the PL. It is possible. Look at his net worth right now.
GPK showing off that Blink Dagger, but the swap from Celery will keep Quinn safe. Might cost him his life. Indeed, it does. That was the Blink reveal for GPK. As, Ace going for a Radiance, so against that PL. Pretty solid choice.
Don't mind that.
Don't see that every day, but they don't really have another Radiance building type hero. That's Toronto-Tokyo. Power shot. Oh, they don't actually line up the spear, though. That would have been a kill. They might find it anyway. Looking for it. No. Does not get it in the end as GPK with a Dragon Tail in
that
retreat.
was close on the power shot, too. But not quite. Yeah, I was wondering. I feel like you look at the Radiant lineup, and they don't really have any initiator aside from Mars, so you were kind of expecting a dagger first, and then you could go Radiance, but Ace wants to go the greedier route here, which... I mean, you could even argue it's not the greedier route, but it just plays into the same timing as his teammates. This Radiance is going to come out when Dazzle has Ags and when Terrorblade has his first item. So perhaps they're just going to group up and force objectives. And you don't really need the dagger if the enemy team can't ever go on you, right? You can just... If your push is strong enough, if your 5 man is strong enough, and you can force the objectives that you need, catching the enemy team becomes a secondary concern. So for now, I don't really mind it. I do hope if the game draws out a little bit that he will get a dagger, because I think at that point, Gaimin will need him to start fights for them. But for now, this is fine.
Yeah, and for Miero, he's building Phylactery instead of the Echo Saber. We've been seeing that as a little bit of a later build, as we saw the Conda yesterday. I think it was, I don't know the actual order of things, but I believe it was Echo Saber, then something, and then Conda. Maybe Conda was second, I'm not sure, but either way, kind of serves the same purpose. Maybe he still ends up going Echo after the fact, or just switching it up entirely. We'll see.
Yeah. It is. I think yesterday was definitely Echo first, right?
Pretty damn sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So Miero is taking a different order. I can't tell you when one is better than the other. This is still quite new to me. Going this route with the phylactery first, I don't think I've seen or tried myself, but
You seem like a phylactery hater.
no, not necessarily. I think it's nice to see more heroes being able to purchase Conda. It kind of felt like it became a one-hero item for a bit.
Yep, GPK gets the opener onto Celery. Swap to give some damage mitigation, but he dies anyway as the arena comes out from Ace. He waits a while so that Quinn can catch up, and that's the more valuable kill onto GPK.
Oh,
Quinn gets credit for it. As the rest of BetBoom show up as well, but not able to really find anything meaningful. And we can see Nightfall about 800 away from finishing his Ags.
Yep, the lead only 2K currently, but looking at the distribution, I think it's a bit misleading for the game state. The supports on BetBoom somehow have farmed a lot more than Gaimin's, but the chorus are a totally different story. With Gaimin easily having the top three. All three cores are ahead by more than 1,000 against their counterparts. Almost 2K on some of them. And I would argue that Gaimin Gladiators lineup, their supports don't need to have high net worth, especially the Venge. I think if she's just there with the aura and with a good save, that's going to be enough for them later in this game. So BetBoom will try to do something here with the smoke. Seems like Gaimin are well aware of it. Might be Tofu breaking it and then potentially getting out, but it was also Moonlight.
And they're going to pop the dust. Blast off hits onto Tofu. Mine will connect as well, but the spear is there. As the Rachi on the low ground with that meta. Going to force the rest of BetBoom back, so turns out they're not interested in the fight after all.
Yeah, ran into more people than they were expecting. Quinn with the Ags. Well, easily push this out with Mars. And this Radiance is now going to be complete. So there's the Aghanim's for the PL.
Have
Step
you,
one.
Have you seen late game, like super late game Dazzle recently?
No, not recently.
So with Ags, wouldn't you be able to do the Mars build, which is Divine and Brooch? Is that not similar interaction, but like longer range?
I guess so.
And you have Grave to stay alive as Arrow is going to connect. As they get the blast off as well, double mines, but a nice swap from Celery to keep Ace alive. And there comes the big arena into the huge rebuke. Ace is going to get graved, has a Radiance online. Still getting quite low though, as Miero will chase Tofu instead of Ace. Interesting choice.
Wow, Gaimin got 0 kills there.
They get 0 kills.
Both supports on the enemy team on like a beat stick of health.
But they also only lose 1. So
yeah.
Another kind of, I mean, I wouldn't call that a stalemate necessarily, but not a whole lot lost either way.
My gratitude.
So far, so good for BetBoom. Gotta repeat it. Like, this was not going to be easy with how the first few minutes went, and they're staying in it. PL will continue to ramp up. Gonna be curious to see what way he chooses to itemize. Going to Fusel is pretty standard. But after that, are you going to go the Manta? Do you try to get some heavier stats? Is that even a discussion here? I mean, maybe you just have to buy the Manta no matter what, but could argue for perhaps a fast disperser.
Is under attack.
Yep, against Poison Touch.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
I don't know. Maybe you just have to get Manta.
We have another attempted initiation into the swap, though. Celery keeping Ace alive again. BetBoom now on the run, at least for now. The Moonlight Shadow is there as GPK uses his ult. Spear is not going to connect. Actually, the repel is placed upon him, and Dyrachyo rethinking things. Still in that melee form as Nightfall inside the arena now. Going to try to do as much damage as he can, but it looks like Gaimin are the ones on the run as Ace left to his own devices. Quinn, no Grave available now. So they lose 2 and now on the retreat. Dyrachyo, now he has his meta, but tries to hide in a corner. Gets off the Sunder. There's the Grave to follow. Poison Touch as well. Nightfall has the Doppelganger away. and the TP is fine. As, all right, save does end up falling to Quinn.
GPK did not have mana for stun. He was completely dry from, yeah, he blinked and he couldn't stun. He was so dry from that fight. If he has a stun there, that's a very different situation than Terribly doesn't get Sunder off, but Gaimin do back each other up and survive, but it's a big part of the lead out the window, and honestly, if this keeps going on in the way that it has for the last 5 minutes, I'm starting to give BetBoom much, much more of a chance in this game. Arguably, you could say they got past the hardest part, in a way.
Yeah, I feel like these fights are starting really slowly for Gaimin. It ends up being them being initiated on into a swap save, and then it gets a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
But once this blink comes on, you talked about Ace going for the Radiance, and he's only like 600 away from blink. I would assume once he gets that, the tempo will change a bit for Gaimin, and they'll try to be the aggressors for once this game.
It definitely helps a lot. I think when you're looking at how BetBoom structure their fights, you want to force heroes away from Omni. So having a spear that can displace them, you even have swap after if you need it to get them really far away from Omni. That's a great way to start the fight. But yeah, when you run this Radiance on Mars, he's going to walk in, everything is telegraphed. BetBoom get to pre-plan how they want to fight, and they are the ones with the dagger and the burst damage with the techies.
If I remember right, the repel used on the DK, GPK, I think would have maybe died. It was used mid-spear, so he was flying from the spear, but it repels before it hits the tree.
Yeah, he didn't get stunned.
So that was a big part of that fight as well. Save. See the Moonlight Shadow. BetBoom want to aggress. Ace again. They initiate on into the arrow. Swap is ready for Celery. Will use it into the Magic Missile. And again, Gaimin gonna back away as Quinn gets slowed down by the Sticky Bomb. Do they have a stun? Indeed they do. Blast off into the Dragon Tail. Down goes the mid for Gaimin. As Tofu is going to take an arrow to the back of the head. Gets the win run off, but only delays the inevitable. So BetBoom again coming out on top of these fights. They're not like these huge team fight wins, but keep collecting a support here, support there, and now they get the mid.
It just seems like Gaimin aren't strong enough to make the moves that they're making, or aren't committing to them enough. Like, they're not bringing the Terrorblade in with the meta for this. He does have a really big item coming out now, so maybe if they start playing around him and get the Roche, I would think, on the Radiant side here could be an idea. I think it's a very different story if you're playing in a controlled area where you pre-place vision and BetBoom run into you. Most of the previous fights has been Gaimin Gladiators walk into BetBoom's side of the map, BetBoom have wards, and then Dragon Knight jumps them. But if you're set up around the pit, you have control, you have good angles on your supports, and perhaps BetBoom will struggle a little bit more to get these easy fights. Could be an idea now that Terrorblade is showing up with a butterfly.
Yeah. Phantom Lancer, not a hero that ever wants to buy MKB. If anything, Bloodthorn would be the choice, but...
Bloodthorn is really good on PL, though. It's insane.
Eventually, you will get that BKB or Duraccio, so...
But once that expires, the new Bloodthorn eats you alive. Like, PL does ridiculous damage with that item. I think even if you're not playing as a single hero with evasion, you still buy it on this hero. Because the damage per second is just ridiculous with all the illusions you have, so... We're definitely going to see that come out from Nightfall here if the game continues in its current trajectory. Yeah, pointing out the support net worths once again. Look at that. Save ahead by 2.5k over Tofu. It's quite crazy. I don't fully understand how BetBoom found this big of an advantage on their supports against the other side. Is it just raw CS? That's a part of it, but it's not like that overwhelming.
Save has Greaves now, as Ace leading the charge with his Blink Dagger. So finally trying to take initiative, but we can see no one in the area quite yet, although BetBoom now.
It's actually just Kill Gold, is it?
Yeah,
it's just Kill Gold.
Okay. Well, they don't find anyone initially, so they're going to go into the pit.
I think when the score was 4-2, when the score in this game was 4-2, BetBoom's supports were ahead of the enemy supports by 1,000 each. So at that point, they must have had more farm then. Like, I think the bounty runes are pretty even. Huh. All right, Gaimin will finally do this. As expected, they will take it at daytime, which is bad news for everybody out there who loves the cheese. Probably not going to see it this game. But you never know.
I mean, we haven't been seeing that many Roshoffs, which I think contributes to it being the same time of day. Because the Roshoff sometimes, like, it's a 2-minute standoff, and then Rosh eventually just switches sides. As Quinn will be the one with the Aegis. There's the blink. Toronto Tokyo dead. And the tier 1 to boot. And game, I mean, they're in the area. They could go for the Tormy. They could just go for the tier 2 as well.
I have an idea for Rosh, Shannon.
Oh boy.
What if, after the second Rosh, it alternates which item he starts giving? So let's say you kill him on Radiant, he gives Banner.
Yeah.
The next Rosh, if he spawns on Radiant, on the Radiant side he starts with Cheese, and then when he goes to the Dire side he gets Banner there.
I think that's fine, sure.
Because the way it is now, if you kill Rosh at nighttime, it's a Cheese game, and if you kill him at daytime, it's a Banner game. That's how it feels. Like you just pile on the same item over and over, because his average respawn time is 10.5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
It's 9 to 12, so you're almost... Wait, what am I saying? It's 8 to 11. Am I tripping? Anyway,
you're tripping on something. Ace finds the connection onto Miero. Gets onto the high ground. Yeah, keep talking, Sin. Keep talking about this idea during a fight here.
It's fine. Nobody's dying except Miero.
That's a core. Pretty big kill.
He's staying alive for a while.
Yeah.
Guardian Angel's quite good. 2 charges. Yeah, they finally do get him with this group of play.
They don't really have a nullifier type hero either for Gaimin.
Yep.
But no, I agree that if they're, I mean, that's the thing. You can balance it so many other ways, but if you were to keep the current system, then I think that would be good.
It's
because then you're not seeing refresher shard every time either for the later ones. It's alternating between ags.
Yeah. I think the sets should just...
Tier 2 tower for Gaimin.
It's go time, baby. High grounding minute 25, classic Gaimin style.
Yep, BetBoom. I
don't think this is going to be easy for them whatsoever.
It might just be a poke and back, because there's still a tier 2 top that they can safely take with this Aegis.
And BetBoom's high ground defense is very annoying to push into. Techie's mines, you always have the threat of the blast off. PL spam with the Aghanims is very strong for defense. Can get fished out by an arrow. Breathe Fire is good to stop pushes because it reduces attack damage. Plenty of problems, so Gaimin cannot force through this.
Yeah, I mean, still plenty of time on the Aegis, and yeah, that's I was going to say, the BKB now coming for Quinn. Not too far away for both Dyrachyo and Ace, and I think you just wait for those two. And it's going to be towards the tail end of the Aegis, I would assume, and you really push the pedal to the metal, which is a car reference. I know you wouldn't know that because you don't drive. You don't have a license even.
What's a pedal?
Exactly.
What's metal?
Yep.
I think even when they have all these BKBs, the one problem Gaimin Gladiators has is they have no counter to Guardian Angel. So effectively the way fights are usually going to pan out is there's going to be one initiation one way or the other. You're going to have to pop BKBs defensively on Gaimin Gladiators to have staying power in that fight. And then can you kill anyone?
Yeah.
While the BKBs are running.
You know what the counter to Guardian Angel is, other than Nullifier, Cinderin? Rapier Brooch on Dazzle.
True.
Or the Mars. You could do both, I guess.
How about both of them get it?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I can't tell if you're serious, but I think you should be.
No, I'm not. Of course I'm serious. I'm always serious.
I really think that's a possible necessity here. Let's see if they can pierce through a little bit here. Quinn with the shield rune trying to tank up a bit, but yeah, he doesn't really get more than 20% of that tower, and Gaimin will back off.
Yeah, the high ground will be difficult.
He's close to heart on PL.
Yeah, the Aegis, okay, it doesn't align as quite as perfectly as I thought it would. So, don't think Gaimin are going to push with that. They will wait for these BKBs. That's Quinn. Oh, that is a very good rune, though. Yeah. Had another 30 seconds on it, maybe they would force the issue here. He's going to be going for the Lincoln, so going to stop the Dragon Tail. And I guess there's only 2 other single target spells, I want to say. So it's actually a really good Lincoln's game. It's going to block something if it is the DK stun.
If you block a Lance, it's also good because then it doesn't bounce, right?
Yeah, true.
That's quite valuable.
Quinn leading the charge, but the Aegis about to expire here. So he will reposition as BetBoom are certainly aware of this.
Just a touch.
There's the second BKB. Actually third, so Dota2 already has his completed as well.
And
And
all
the
right,
meta.
now they're committed.
Yes,
That's
so
the
it was
meta.
the BKBs.
They definitely want something to happen here with this triple BKB timing. BetBoom all gonna smoke and look for a wrap.
Hopefully it's a delicious wrap as Miero. Smoke will pop. GPK goes in really deep. Quinn already gets on the
Oh
BKB,
my.
but instantly Celery dies. Inside the Mars arena is just the techies for now. Ace pops the BKB, so he's not disarmed any longer, so it's a support for support. But the BKB is already expended for Gaimin. Celery buys back as Nightfall now has Heart, so going to be super difficult to kill, but the meta now running out.
Actually got a base tower. That's not too bad. I wasn't sure they were going to get this, but BetBoom's wraparound took so long that they were able to finish off the tower. This obviously means Glyph is reset, so BetBoom will have that for a secondary push coming sometime soon. Yeah, this push from Dota2 very successful. And they just instantly blow up Celery. They know exactly what they want here with their Omni Knight. But nothing more to come from that. With Techies isolated on the side, a 1-for-1 trade is fine, honestly, for the side of Gaimin in that situation. But yeah, the BKBs were expended, so they're going to be a little bit shorter next time. Gaimin probably going to chill now and wait for the next Roche, which can spawn in 1:25, and therefore overwhelmingly likely it will be killed bottom again, unless it's a maximum respawn and they're not on the dot. Then
Doubloon. That's not picked up very often. Have you used this one before?
no, wait, why did he get this?
I was going to ask you. You're the analyst.
I don't understand.
I'm sure there's a reason.
Yeah, is it? Does he just want the regen to just spam out waves?
It's a good question, Cinderin.
Oh, would you look at that Dazzle that has most healing?
Yeah, that is incredible.
It's a lot of healing, to be fair. That's a lot of healing. Honestly, with that graph, I'm surprised Omni has half of him. I thought Dazzle would be further ahead than that. But there's obviously...
Oh, Ace. Ooh.
Oh.
Rebuke. And the Radiance didn't tick fast enough,
Yep.
apparently. Always found that one really strange. Able to blink out just fine.
GPK will be...
There was a time where Blink was not canceled by damage, right? Am I crazy?
Yes, there was a time.
And it also cost mana, which is the dark ages of Dota. That
So-
was the best change to Dota ever, was getting rid of mana cost on Blink.
I think the best change to the game ever was putting in Smoke of Deceit.
That's up there too.
That was simply the best invention we've ever had. The patch you're thinking of is 648B, which was a very iconic patch in Dota 1. Dagger did not break on damage up until that point, and at the pro levels of play, the meta was largely a lot of Blink stunners and Silencer and Warlock. Is how I remember it.
Slacks would have been real happy
Those
back
heroes
in the day.
were very good back then. It was the era of Vigos, the legend.
Wow, yeah. Old school.
Yep.
BetBoom
He
with the
never really
smoke.
made it big in Dota 2. He played
No.
for a little bit, but eventually
Okay,
moved on
leading
to
the
other
way.
things.
Ace might be the one to block this smoke, but you can see they're wrapping around very far. They're going to spot the courier.
I think they saw Quinn for a second there. Yeah, they're pinging him.
Yep. Moonlight
Okay.
Shadow now. GPK in melee form to get this instant stun off potentially.
Oh, this is so awkward.
In the trees. The sentry's placed. Celery's courier killed by Toronto Tokyo, so kind of giving up a bit of information now. BetBoom. There's no Roche for another minute, so this Roche off is a little bit premature. But I think the difference is Gaimin is getting a little bit more farm out of the map.
I suppose.
Slightly.
It's very minimal though. All right, Ace is
Ace.
gonna show.
Yeah, he's sick of waiting. Romans don't wait.
This is Mars
Sparta.
Mars roleplay right here.
That's right.
Really begging for a fight, walking out into the open. Come on.
Another courier killed. 1 for 1.
All right, arrow's gonna hit.
Will they wait here for half an hour? That would be the record. For Roshan, at least. As the mines.
This would actually be a
Give
really
things
nice
away.
time for Gaimin Gladiators if they had a banner. Then they could force someone to TP back to base.
Well, they'll have one soon, potentially. I mean, this is where having a hero that can split push and get back to you real quick would be so invaluable.
Yeah, if they had like Kunko or
Smoke
Ember.
again. All right. It's going to be popped. Dyrachyo with the reflection. Doppelganger immediately from Nightfall. Arena comes out from Ace just onto Nightfall for now. Quinn prematurely popping that BKB. Spear connects onto Nightfall, but the repel is there. He runs away safely. Now that the BKBs are dissipating, the arrow goes in, trying to delete Celery. He's going to get Grave, though, but Dyrachyo is the one that's taken out. Ace is next. So 2 core kills for BetBoom, and the rest of Gaimin now on the retreat. They reserved the Grave for a support, and ends up biting them in the ass.
I feel like this fight is almost over when they initiate. They brute force up into this, and they can't kill Nightfall like this. It's not possible. He just gets 1 spell from Omni, or 2, you know, if you want, if you need. And you have to pop all your BKBs to commit in. They're eventually going to run out.
Yeah.
And you just get overpowered. The Dragon Knight, obviously also amazing in this area, level 18 with the Black Dragon form. Man, Gaimin, they wanted to play tempo this game with this Dazzle, but it really has felt like they haven't been able to get there, you know? Thank you, Tofu, for letting them know when Aegis was. It will actually be a Dire Roche. Would you look at that?
Yeah.
I guess if they stare at each other for long enough, day turns to night.
That's right. Aegis now for Nightfall. Cheese on Miero. And that was, I mean, we've seen this go the other way where it's really successful, but the Mars Blink, it's basically blind Blink Arena, right? You're not seeing everything. And it just happened to be only the PL, the one hero you literally just can't kill right now without getting out the Omni Knight, at the very least.
I think Gaimin have to go on Omni. I actually, the more I see this play out, the better I like the Omni Knight pick, specifically because of the teamfight structure that the Radiant lineup has to take with their heroes. They are so exceptionally physical heavy that Guardian Angel is just going to remove, I want to say like 80 to 90% of their damage. So he can just, as long as Omni gets to use GA on the target that Terrorblade's hitting, or the target that the, yeah, I mean it's mainly Terrorblade, because Dazzle's damage isn't too overwhelming. Then I don't think Gaimin can kill anyone, actually. It's very problematic. There's no easy target. Even starting the fight onto someone like Techies, I feel like you honestly just GA and repel him, and that's good enough.
Yeah.
Then the PL gets the chaos he wants in the fight. Ace will probably get Blink Dragon tailed here if he sticks around a bit too long, but... Oh, there's a mine.
Yep, that wasn't mine. Good call.
What? Does Dragon Knight not have dagger already? I really thought they were going to connect with that mine exploding. That would prevent Ace from reacting to it, to blink in.
I do like the itemization from Gaimin, though. We talked about the Radiance already. Now Mjolnir for Terrorblade, so magic damage against... It's not just good against PL, but against just Guardian Angel in general.
I really like your brooch idea. I think it's going to be the game winner for Gaimin if they...
Mars is getting it now.
We'll get there.
But he'll... I mean, how good is it without Rapier?
It's okay. It's definitely not like... You're not like threatening to kill PL with this, but it's the start, and it shows that Gaimin understand how to problem solve this game. I'm at a point now where I feel like it's actually the only way you win is to go this item, this build path.
If they find Celery, he's getting closer to that Ag, so that's gonna kind of punish BetBoom for finding him in fights usually first. They're gonna dissuade them at the very least from doing so.
Yeah.
Which means that the swap save is gonna be more readily available. There's Nightfall now. Getting pretty damn stacked.
Quinn is going Wind Waker. I don't think it's the call here. I'm really with you on the offensive build. Unless I'm missing something and the broach doesn't work with Shadow Wave or
Well,
something.
I've never seen it, so that's why I'm questioning whether it works or not.
The thing is,
it's an auto attack though. So
exactly.
I don't see why not.
The way I believe Shadow Wave is genuinely coded is every target affected in enemy team launch regular auto attack at them with 0 like limitations, right? It just fires an attack. They can all proc orbs. I would think they can all.
Would they be able to crit Daedalus?
Yeah.
Why haven't we seen that?
It should work.
Nightfall.
I think.
High ground attempt, minute and a half. I'm actually going to assume they're wrong on this. I feel like we would have seen it. It's the doppelganger to the low ground. Resetting. GPK gets off the stun onto the Windrunner. Arrow connects as well.
Oh, boy.
Ace is the one taking the brunt of the damage, though. Tofu's already dead. He has to use his BKB in retreat. Nightfall. His illusions are getting killed readily.
Dota2 forcing a rotation back from at least one hero of BetBoom here.
Yep, that is true. He is pushing, but it looks like the melee racks will eventually go down. As the Omni Knight still shadowing Nightfall. As Dota2, he's actually going to get the full trade in top. He's going to BKB TP to prevent Toronto Tokyo from stopping him. So somehow, Gaimin get the trade. That is really good for them.
I guess.
Only 30 seconds on the Aegis. GPK. Oh, he's going to get sheep, but the stun is on Dazzle with the blast off as well. No save to come. And Ace looks to be next. Neither of which of these heroes have buyback. And now BetBoom in the base, a swap to try to get him closer to the fountain, but GPK able to get out. Celery goes down to purely illusions. He does have his buyback, but now BetBoom going for the tier 4s. Aegis is consumed. And there's the buyback from the techies, which will cause Celery to buy back instantly. You can see they have the stun. They have the damage. I didn't think they'd be able to get it, but Dota2 falls, buys back again. No meta for 50. Tier 4 tower number 1 dead, number 2 as well. Ancient fully exposed, and this is when Gaimin has to fight. Nightfall is so hard to deal with. They need to get some offensive swap, but Celery super low, gets it off. But this is an illusion hero. Can definitely deal with this a bit. And they're going to find the stun action. They're going to find the damage again onto Dota2 inside his own fountain. And that should do it. Save will die back for effect, but it's a full team wipe as BetBoom's going to take game number 1.
Damn. They